Hey everyone, today I'll be reviewing the incredibly addictive game Streets of Rogue and see if it's still as good as it was when it was first released many years ago in 2017. So coming up, I'll be breaking down the various aspects of the game, including an overview, the gameplay, its replayability, the various pros and cons of the game, and even at the end I asked Reddit what were some good strategies to try out to see if it's still fun and still worth a play even after all these years, so you don't want to miss out on that. So imagine a game where every choice leads to a new adventure, where you can be anything from a law-abiding cop to a rampaging gorilla out for scientist blood. Welcome to Streets of Rogue, a game with almost endless replayability as it constantly prods the question to you, what if? What if you went in John Wick style with guns blazing? Go ahead. What if you wanted to be a gangster and got your homies to do your dirty work for you? Sure thing, call them up. What if you chose a zombie with your friends and tried to turn the whole town into the next season of The Walking Dead? Well, you can do that too. And what if you just wanted to be a cannibal and seeing if eating cooked people would get you more health? What is wrong with you? But it's cool because the game doesn't have a morality stat, so if you're someone who always asks the question, what if I did this, or can I do this, in the different games that you play, then I think you're going to be enjoying this video. This is Marco here from Easily Distracted Games, helping you find new or old games for you to get lost in. So let's get started with today's new video. So Streets of Rogue came out in 2017, developed by Matt Dabrowski and published by TinyBuild, and runs on pretty much anything from the Switch to the PlayStation to Xbox to GeForce to Windows to Mac and I think even Linux. The game is essentially a roguelite action game where you navigate through procedurally generated levels, completing various missions and objectives. Now many people might just click away from this video thinking, nah, this game isn't for me, the graphics and the gameplay don't look like the type of games that I'm used to. But I'd urge you to look past that, as the game thrives on freedom of choice. I mean, in comparison, think of a game where you can blast away enemies until your heart's content, but almost like a strategy game, you can also find interesting and different ways of completing your missions. So unlike traditional roguelikes that focus primarily on combat, Streets of Rogue offers a unique mix of stealth, hacking, social manipulation, as well as many other different gameplay strategies, allowing for a huge variety of playstyles. You can also play it single player or co-op up to 4 people, either online or just wait for it, couch co-op, which is actually first how I got into this game because yeah, the couch co-op scene, it's quite small. So the game takes place in a dystopian city where you play as a member of the resistance fighting against a corrupt government. The game's premise is straightforward. You start in an underground base and you work your way up through the city one floor at a time with the ultimate goal of overthrowing that oppressive mayor. Each level is packed with NPCs, missions, weapons, items, as well as countless ways to achieve your objectives, either through brute force or otherwise. I actually asked the Reddit and Discord communities what were some of the most messed up ways they've killed people in this game. So you might want to stay tuned until the end of the video as I actually test out some of these strategies, and I'm also really starting to question people's moral fiber who play this game. And so how do you actually play the game? Well, let's jump into the gameplay, but before that, perhaps consider subscribing if you haven't already, as I'll be reviewing both new and old games coming up, so you might find one that you get lost in and you don't want to miss out on that. In terms of different mechanics, Streets of Rogue offers an incredibly diverse gameplay experience. At its core, the gameplay is about choice and freedom, which is something I'll be covering a lot in this video. First up, we'll be choosing a character, which there are quite a few to choose from, but note that each character plays wildly different to the next. For example, you can take the pacifist route with the doctor or the cop, where you can complete a run without even killing anyone. Or you could just be a gorilla or the werewolf and just cause absolute carnage on the streets. As you can tell, your character choice significantly impacts on how you approach the game's challenges, and also each character gets their own unique big quest, like the zombies infecting a certain number of people during each floor, or the comedian having to entertain a certain number of people on the floor by telling them jokes. And as you can tell, everything in this game is not always what it seems at face value. For me personally, I love causing mayhem and destruction in the games that I play, so the Demolitionist is my current go-to, simply because his main objective is, well, blowing shit up. But then take someone like my girlfriend who solely plays as the cannibal, which has a trait, as you probably may have guessed, yes, it's eating people. So this is amazing because she can't eat regular meals, as her only sustenance is the pixelated flesh of NPCs, both raw and cooked. And this works out really well during our co-op games because, yeah, I can focus on the food, she can focus on just eating people. It's amazing. And if you've played this game before, perhaps drop a comment on what's been your favorite character and which one do you play as and how do you actually play it. Let me know. Controlling your character is also very fluid and easy to do in this game. I mean, it's definitely recommended to use a controller, but I kind of just stick with a mouse and keyboard just because it's a bit easier for me. But just navigating around the map and accessing your items and things like that is extremely easy to do. And speaking of items, you also get a different number of items that you start with depending on which character you choose, but you can also pick them up along the way, including both weapons, items to break into buildings, and other items to alter how NPCs can interact with you. And let me tell you, the amount of items here is equally as plentiful as the characters, but here are just like some of my favorite that I have here. I mean, you have the banana peel. You just kind of just throw it on the floor and hopefully someone runs over it. It's hilarious, but it can also happen to you. Or the hologram Bigfoot, in case you want to cause a distraction, and it's hilarious just watching what happens there. You also get this barrel of monkeys that explodes and has all these little gorillas causing all kinds of nonsense when they get out of that barrel. It's hilarious. Or you can use the various unknown syringes that, you know, you just pick up out of the bin or the trash can that you can either use on yourself, or maybe you want to put it into an air vent and just see what happens. Items and weapons also work extremely well with the environment. So remember I said you could get creative? So take water and electricity. They don't really mix very well. Take the harmless taser. The best it can do is stun people. Wrong, just have someone chase you past a broken fire hydrant and tase them and just see what happens. Added to the variety and creativity here, you also get different traits, which at the end of each room, you will have maybe leveled up by completing your missions, and then you're able to choose new traits, again changing how you're going to be playing the game. Like for instance, the wall walloper, one of my favorites, where you can just smash down all the walls with your different melee weapons like your baseball bat or whatever. Again, you'll start a character with different traits, but adding new ones through your run will always be changing on how you play the game, and again, it adds that extra level of replayability. But overall, the gameplay formula is pretty simple, but it is so addictive here. You'll be entering a level, completing your missions, collecting loot, maybe leveling up and gaining new traits, and then moving on to the next floor. However, the way you achieve those various tasks and objectives can vary wildly. You might want to opt into sneaking past the guards, maybe you want to hack the computers to disable them, maybe you want to be bribing NPCs for information, or you know, you can just go in guns blazing. This open-ended approach to missions ensures that no two playthroughs are ever going to be the same. And then you combine this with the game's NPCs, AI, and the environmental interactions, which are very noteworthy and something I'll get to later. I mean, a good example is creating a fight with the different gangs and then the cops get involved. It reminded me a bit of GTA, where there's this living, breathing city going on in the background and you're just kind of there for the fun of it. And then with all of this going on, there's tons of meta progression too in the home base, which also gives you different customization options. And all of this just helps to ramp up that replayability factor, which is what I'm going to jump into now. So once you've played through a few hundred runs or so and you want to spice things up a bit, you also have these mutators in the game where you can completely change the type of gameplay during your runs. Say from increasing the disasters appearing in each level, making everyone hate you, or there's even a sandbox mode, which I just found out about, and that lets you pretty much have control of the different items and different aspects of the game. It's amazing. And if you've gone through all the characters and you want something more there's also a DLC character pack that includes even more characters to try out, including the bouncer, the mech pilot, the courier, the alien, the goon, and my personal favorite, the demolitionist. They're pretty cool. And if none of these appeal to you, or you're getting a bit bored of the current roster, why not just create your own character? Yes, the game has that. You can assign your character various traits, what they look like, the different items and missions they're going to be assigned to, which really ensures that, again, you can play the game how you want to in your own unique style. This level of customization ensures that both new players and the roguelite veterans can always find a challenge that suits them. And then as you progress in the game, you'll be earning chicken nuggets, which is the game's form of currency here, which can be spent on unlocking traits and different items. And then completing various achievements can also help unlock new characters too. This progression system keeps you coming back for more, as each run can unlock new possibilities and strategies for future playthroughs. It's incredibly addictive, and each new level in Streets of Rogue is also procedurally generated here, so that also provides a fresh, new and unpredictable experience every time you play. And the game has 5 stages, each of them with 3 rooms, and then a final stage that is just the Mayor Village essentially. And getting through each of these gets progressively harder, especially when some hardcore enemies start arriving, and it's quite challenging. I often actually just struggle getting through the first few levels. It's not easy, believe me. The levels are packed with diverse biomes or environments and different obstacles, like from the bustling city streets to the hidden underground scientist labs. And this variety in level design always keeps the gameplay exciting and ensures that each run presents new challenges and opportunities. And then the last thing I'll mention in terms of replayability is that I would highly recommend playing this game with friends. Yes, you can go along and play it on your own in terms of solo, but just, I don't know, playing it with friends is always just so much fun. You can die pretty easily in this game, but having someone to revive you really helps carry on the game and make you try and get to that last level. But there are tons of things that I really loved about this game, but there's also some other things that I didn't really enjoy. So I'm going to be jumping into the pros and cons. Starting off with the pros, this game oozes creative gameplay and forces you to sometimes think out the box. You don't always have to go in guns blazing. Maybe you think, well, maybe I can just sneak into this window and do something crazy. I'm not sure, but in terms of gameplay, you don't have to resort to a certain style. It's very fluid in that regard. Something else I really loved about this game is that retro aesthetic. It's really charming, there's vibrant colors, and I love the detail that goes into the sprites, which, I mean, you don't have a lot to work with here, but I don't know, I just find myself laughing at the different things that go on here. As yeah, despite its simple visual style here, the game manages to convey a lot of personality and atmosphere, and that is especially true in terms of the music. Man, it goes so hard sometimes. The sound design really complements the visuals perfectly too. It's energetic and it's really fitting for a game that has fast-paced action like this. And that's also true even just for the sound effects, from the satisfying thud of a melee attack to the blaring alarms when you trip security systems. The audio really enhances the overall gameplay here. And something else that isn't really talked about is the humor aspect of just everything. All the way from the tutorial to the different characters, their traits, everything just seems so cute and innocent, but then you have some crazy things going on, and it's something I really enjoy, as I think the writing of this game is so top notch here. Matt Dabrowski and whoever else was a part of writing this game, kudos to you. As I often find myself just cracking up with the different lines and things that the NPCs say to each other or say to you. I mean, another pro is just playing co-op. I mean, even just couch co-op. It's hard to find roguelites that have this multiplayer experience fun. Like, I mean, the only thing I can think of is maybe, say, Risk of Rain 2, maybe Gunfire Reborn, I'm not sure. But one thing that really stands out here is that this game pretty much runs on any computer. I mean, it's been out for so long now, and look at these graphics. So yeah, if you got a potato computer, this game can run on it. But it isn't all fun and games here. I mean, it is still somewhat expensive at $20. Yes, that seems like a lot for what you're getting, but there is a lot of sales that come and go here, and I've seen it going for 75% off at times. But for me, honestly, I've definitely got my $20 worth, or whatever I paid for it when it came out. But then something else that might put a damper is that the sequel is coming out later this year. And it seems strange, why am I reviewing it now when a sequel is coming out? Well, the sequel is going to be a little bit different. It's not going to be exactly the same type of gameplay. And for me, I'm still going to be playing this game right until the sequel comes out, and maybe even some time after. But because it's been out for so long, there is a very small online player pool here. So if you do want to play with others, I would recommend trying out the Discord server, as yeah, there might be people there looking for games. But that then brings me on to trying out the different Reddit and Discord suggestions here. Now this was pretty much just an experiment to see what people can come up with, so I'm going to be trying these out. So let's give it a go. So first up, someone on Reddit said, what if you had to neutralize someone inside a house and then have an oil can, maybe spread a bit of oil inside and out and then let them cook? So I haven't tried this out, but let's see how it goes. Okay, so putting in the oil over there, I've got a cigarette lighter and flame on. Damn. That's a lot of fire. That is a lot of fire, I'm not gonna lie. Everyone is burning alive. I think that one guy's gonna make it. Come on, guy. Wow. Next up is to use a boombox to gather a crowd and then use a flamethrower to herd and cook them. Wow. You guys are crazy, but let me see how far I can get you. Alright, so I've got my flamethrower, I've got my boombox. Gonna drop down the boombox. Make those people jive. And then turn up the heat. Ooh, that's a lot of... Man, you guys really like the fire, don't you? Man. Next up is cyanide capsules or giant pills in ventilation shafts, which are always a fun way to stir up some mayhem. Yes, this I haven't actually tried, but damn, that is hilarious. Okay, putting it in the air filtration system. And... wow, that's a lot of giants. Damn, that's so cool. I gotta do this more often, wow. Another classic example, you know, freezing someone, then shrinking them so that you can step on them without them running away. Wow, you guys are twisted. Let me give it a shot here. Again, putting it into the air filtration. Some shrink holes. They're so tiny. And now, instead of fire, we've got the freeze. Damn. And then another one here, penetrating bullets plus the water pistol, monkey with a barrel and a giantizer. Use your imagination. Hoi boy, okay. Well, okay, this is crazy, but let's see how far we get. Okay, so waiting for the barrel. And damn! Giant gorillas! It's King Kongs! There's so many! So much destruction! Wow. Amazing. But if you know of any other suggestions here, drop them in the comment section so that other people can try them out. So in the end, Streets of Rogue for me is truly a standout in the roguelike genre, offering a unique blend of action, stealth, and gameplay mechanics that is really hard to compete with. I think it's down to its emphasis on player choice, as well as that procedural generation. And all of this through every playthrough is just going to be giving you a fresh and exciting experience. Whether you're a fan of roguelikes or you just wanted to try out a new game for you to get lost in, to me, Streets of Rogue is definitely worth checking out and highly recommended in my books. I thoroughly enjoyed my time with this game. It's something that encourages you to think creatively, experiment, and it's really hard to put down once you get started. I think one thing I'll add to this is that you can play this game for 20 minutes during a quick break or just hours during the evening with a bunch of friends. And yes, at $20, it's a bit steep, but I don't know, for me, I just got endless hours of replayable value here that it's still, maybe I'd say wait for it at 75% off sale, but who knows? I'd say just try it out anyways. And then maybe you want to compare it to other roguelikes. I mean, something like Enter the Gungeon, maybe The Binding of Isaac, or maybe even Dead Cells. And yes, each of those have their own unique strengths. But to me, Streets of Rogue just stands out for its open-ended approach and its diverse gameplay options. So if you're a fan of the genre and you've never played this before, you owe it to yourself to give this game a try. And yes, I know that the sequel is coming out later this year, but you know, I will still be playing this game many more times until then. Hell, I might even just go play it right now. So like I said, if you've played this game before, let me know in the comment section what's been your favorite character and how you'd like to play with them. What are your favorite items or traits? And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out my other reviews too. Who knows, you might be finding another game for you to get lost in. But other than that, this is Marco here from Easily Distracted Games. And as always, don't stop gaming.
Oh, I died! No, don't die, Julian! Ah, no!